Good looking, Sammy. Good looking.
It's time for Cats Talk Wednesday. Small town and big city joined forces. Vinny Hardy of Lynch, Kentucky, and Terry Brown of Louisville, Kentucky, team up to give you free-flowing, laid-back sports talk. Focus on Kentucky Wildcats, as well as pertinent information in the NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball.
And that's what we do. Pertinent information. This week comes from the NFL because somebody was at an NFL game.
Pertinent information. I like
somebody is not me. That somebody was Terry Brown at the NFL games. We got to talk about all that first. It's Cats Talk Wednesday. Y'all know how we do each and every Wednesday. Coming to y'all courtesy of the BS3 Network. We live streaming on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. So jump in here and leave a comment. And we'd appreciate it. TB, man, how you doing? You having to adjust a little bit? Got some technical stuff going on up there on your end. You just look. Usually that's always me. Y'all always know that's always me. But you got stuff beyond your control, weather and whatever happened up there today.
Home internet's out, so I'm using the phone. I'm making it do what it do. I'm up here in the kitchen because I couldn't get a good signal in the basement where I usually rock and roll. So welcome to my kitchen. But no, everything is going good other than that.
That's good, man. We ain't even gonna beat around the bush. Gotta talk about Monday. I can't I'll say I can empathize with you. I can't ever say I feel bad that the Niners lose, but I've been where you were Monday, so I know the feeling. And I just, got to get you the floor and talk about whatever you want to talk about because, you was in the building in the U.S. Bank.
U.S. Bank.
Okay.
U.S. Bank Field, yeah. It was our 2-year anniversary, so we went to Minneapolis and did some sights and sound visits. Saw a lot of Prince stuff, as you can imagine. We saw Prince's Club. I sent you some pictures of that. 7th Ave, I think, is the name of it, and where Purple Rain was filmed. So people of our generation, we know what that movie was. With that era of Prince is kind of my era of Prince, And saw that, which is pretty much right across the street from the Target Center.
Okay.
And, right down the couple of blocks away from Target Field. So everything's conveniently located there in Minneapolis. But had a good time. The stadium is fantastic. Glass roof. It's like you're outside because it's dark and everything. And it was great. We were at a hotel close to U.S. Bank, and so we just had to walk to the game, which was fantastic.
Oh, that's cool.
And a lot of 49ers fans. Like I've told you before, way back when, 49ers fans weren't known to travel. But here the last few seasons, maybe the last 10 years or so, the faithful travel. Yeah. And so a lot of 49ers fans, good vibe going in. And, man, just the game itself was a clunker. Yeah. Defense, not great. Pressure, but not getting home on Cousins. And couldn't get off the field on 3rd down. The touchdown, 60-yard touchdown pass right before halftime on a zero blitz. Ward had a good play on the ball, but there was that.
Ward, I'm watching. I'm flipping between that and when the Cowboys are on, I hit a little bit of Peyton and Eli. I hit a little bit of regular broadcast. I think it was one of the NLCS or something was on, and I was going back to that. But Vikings make a few plays. Your boy Ward wins his first battle with Addison. Yeah. He just punks him. I'm like, okay, here we go. The Niners fixing to be bullies and just do what they do. So it started off great for y'all, man.
And so on that play before half, because it looked like Ward had the ball, and then he just and the guy for the Vikings just took. I was like, I couldn't register what happens. And, when you're at a game, you're kind of at a disadvantage because you don't know the commentary. You don't get the different angles and all that kind of stuff. I was like, well, that's not great.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it comes out today that Purdy is in the concussion protocol. I knew when they did the sneak, it didn't look great. Like, it looked like he took a little bit of a hit. But after that, he was 2 of 6 for the 2 interceptions, and just not a great end of the game. But look, I still had fun. Most of the fans were nice. Like I told you, I did not want to get into a fight, and so we were with Vikings fans and 49ers fans. Oh, there we go, and 49ers fans. So we were in a good section. We were second level up all the way to the back, so there was nobody behind us. So it was that was great. So we could stand up and do stuff and everything. It was great. It was like a club level thing. So there was a DJ at the club level while we're getting food and snacks and stuff like that. So that was great. I found out that when the Vikings score a touchdown, they play Prince.
Okay.
And so can't be too mad, but I didn't really want to hear too much Prince at that moment.
Exactly.
The skull chant is pretty cool. They had Dave Winfield come out.
Wow, legend boy.
Led the skull chant, and they skull. They had a great little hype video. But as I tweeted out, and this is probably pride going before the fall, the one thing that the Minnesota Vikings hype video doesn't have is Super Bowl highlights.
Yeah.
Not a lot of Super Bowl highlights.
Not Super Bowl winning highlights. Sure. They got there and took some L's.
Yeah, so they don't have that. But no, it was great. Like I was telling you before we started, there was one guy that was kind of being obnoxious at halftime, but for the most part, I'm just like, because it came down to it at the very end. That's really what I wanted to see too. Obviously, I wanted to see San Francisco win, but it was fun. We had a great weekend. 2 years, man. So
yeah, that's good. That's good. I thought they were 2 and 4. Y'all were 5 and 1, and they hadn't beaten anybody. But at the same time, I'm like, they're gonna be desperate if they want to try to have a season. They need this. Kind of like me last year going to Green Bay. I didn't look up what Green Bay was. That they were 4 and 7. It was. They got to have this if they want to try to have a season. They had lost 5 or 6 in a row before they played the Cowboys. And on paper, Dallas should go in there and take care of business. Niners should go in there and take care of business. It's Kirk Cousins. He never does anything in prime time. It's the best receivers out. Jefferson's out. So the Niners just go in there and beat them up. And then I don't know if you did, but me, I was like, but Green Bay desperate. Aaron Rodgers could do Aaron Rodgers stuff. And if he, yay verily, as you like to say, it came to pass, he rallies them and they win. So from the standpoint of y'all never having to lead, that shocked me. I'm like, the 49ers really going to trail all night? I was surprised that they lost that way.
Yeah, because I'd done the math, and I'm like, we hold them, don't give up that last touchdown before the half. I'm like, because we had just scored. I'm like, we hold them, get the ball first, bookend halftime like that. I'm like, okay. But when that didn't happen, I'm like, I don't know. That was probably, I was like, I don't, when you're watching the game and you're like, I don't know how, I don't think this is it. But then, we got the stop. They missed the field goal. So we had a shot at 22-15 or 22-17. I was like, or 25-17, whatever it was. I can't remember now. I'm drawing a blank, but I'm like, okay. But it wasn't meant to be. My whole thing is just get healthy at the end of the year. I was talking to some 49ers fans like, we're trying to keep pace with Philly. And I'm like, for my money, health trumps that home field.
Yeah.
Or that extra bye week. I just want to be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
That to me means more than anything. Obviously, I want to see my team win, but
Mm-hmm.
but our focus has got to be we got to get to January as healthy as possible, whatever that means.
Mm-hmm.
So if that means we've got to go to Sam Darnold, let's go to Sam Darnold, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, with Trent Williams being out, that hurt. Of course, not having Debo, that hurt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But McCaffrey's still a dude, even though he's not 100%. Setting a record, touchdowns, 16 straight games. That's
crazy.
pretty remarkable. So I still have a positive outlook on this season. I knew they weren't going to go 17-0.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't going to happen.
And they were driving. They were driving when he fumbled. Y'all were probably gonna get 3 or 7.
Yeah. When he fumbled at the
mm-hmm.
yeah. So just a lot of things kind of adding up, and but I'm fine. I think a little bit of the 49ers fans, I would say the younger fans, are having a little bit of more of a panic than some of the older fans. But like I said, just talking to other 49ers fans is great. I got to tell a quick story about my man, Matt. So we're sitting in the club area. Kate and I were hanging out, before the game. And it's starting to get crowded. This guy, he's got a John Taylor jersey on. Because I'm pointing out to Kate, because she's new to the 49ers. If I'm like, the thing that always strikes me, and I had a conversation with this guy, Matt, was like, you just don't see that many Steve Young jerseys. Like the older 49ers, it's typically Rice, Montana, or like a Ronnie Lott. But there's not a lot of Steve Young. And I'm like, Steve Young really, really good. Like he was, he did win a Super Bowl, right? He got the infamous monkey off his back.
Sure did.
But and so we're talking, and he's like, where are you guys from? Like, I say from Iowa, whatever. He's like, oh, great. I'm from Maine. I was like, as in the state Maine? He's like, yeah. I was like, oh, that's cool. He's like, yeah, I go to about 15, 16 games a year. I'm like, I'm sorry? What? He's like, yeah, I got season tickets. And I'm like, wait a minute. Geography is not my strong suit, but I'm like, Maine to California, and you got season tickets? He's like, yeah, I love the 49ers. I was like, bro, you win the diehard, because that is insane to me. It's like, yeah, I was in Cleveland last week, and the Pittsburgh game, that was great. I'm like, what?
Like, from September to January, he's never home. He's never in Maine. Just catching a flight from just 2 or 3 games in homestand. Then you going to Arizona, then to Seattle, then the Rams, then the. Whew.
He's like, yeah, he saw him in Mexico when they played the Cardinals a couple years. I'm like, goodness gracious, but he said that's what he wanted to do, and I'm like, I need to roll with you. And he's like, hey, if you guys are ever in San Francisco, you're going to a game, let me know, because I've got club this, that, and the other. I'm like, all right, well, we exchange Instagram information like we're the youth now, right? And so I told Kate, I said, I don't know if he was just BSing or not, but I'm gonna make him tell me no. So I'm like, because that was always my thing, is I would love to see him in San Francisco, but the Bay Area is literally the most expensive place like in America. So I'm like, but I'm like, if we can get there and the tickets, that might be something. But anyway, he was great. He had a John Taylor jersey on. He routed off all the different jerseys he had. I'm trying to remember. I saw a Trey Lance jersey. I was like, oh, okay. Ooh. Yeah. Saw Jimmy Garoppolo. I was like, alrighty. Of course, Colin Kaepernick. Saw Jeff Garcia, Terrell Owens. The most obscure, I thought, it was a tie between Ricky Waters and William Floyd. I was like fullback.
Yeah.
Nope, no, Tom Rathman.
Now, I
So
was about to, yeah, I was about to
Rathman and Roger Craig, but I'm like,
Oh.
okay, but that was great. Just 49ers fans just talking and having a great time, and yeah, it was fun. You know how it is when you're not like in the city of your team. You know how it is, and you're there and you congregate. Because I was telling Kate, I was like, I can't remember if I've ever been around this many San Francisco fans, probably since the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And that was kind of tainted a little bit. A lot of Dallas fans too, but so it was just great. We're walking to the stadium, high fiving, and this is great.
Yeah, that's fun.
Bang Bang Niner gang, and it was tight ends day. So of course I got my Kittle jersey with my Jerry Rice T-shirt underneath, because I had a lot of people like, you're not going with Jerry. It's like, okay, to be clear, Jerry is my dude. Let's be clear. Okay. Like, I can't believe you know me and would think I would not have Jerry represented at all in a situation like this. But it's high-fiving guys and just having a great old time. It was fantastic.
Yeah, the dude from Maine, that's I mean, well, like Kate is with the Cubs, he kind of in there. I mean, as far as like super fan, I don't know if the Niners recognize him on social media or at the stadium or what, but he's in there, boy. That's
well, he rocks, because he was just telling about casually, like, he goes to the Dwight Clark. They have the Dwight Clark, in the off season, like memorial, whatever, golf outing, whatever. I'm like, he's like, yeah. So I was at the Dwight Clark, blah blah blah. I'm like, all righty. So I go to his Instagram. I'm like, wait a minute. That's CMC and that's Kittle. And I'm like, he's like, oh yeah, that's Jerry Rice. I'm like,
oh, he ain't even in awe of it. He done met him so many times.
He's just like, oh yeah. I'm like, all righty. So I'm like, I need to rock with this guy. Like, but no, it was fun. We had a good time. Minnesota is great. It's only about 3.5 hours away, and luckily we had some good weather, and it was great. The thing was, there were a lot of Iowa people. Of course, Purdy being an Iowa State kid, and Kittle, this was as close. So a lot of Iowa State folks, because this is as close as Purdy has been since he became the dude, right? So there are a lot of those folks there as well. So it was fun. We had a good time. Like I said, the outcome obviously wanted a little bit different, but had a great time. No friction or anything.
Yeah.
Getting to go and drive around Minneapolis, see a lot of Prince stuff, which, folks should know you and I are big music people. So that was cool. I mean, it's Prince. How can you not be in awe of Prince and all the different murals and everything with Prince, and all around it's purple? I'm like, how can you? Yes, Prince. Thank you. No Kirby Puckett, but it was okay.
Right. So Minneapolis is a city. You said Des Moines is light, and Louisville a little smaller. Minneapolis, is it spread out? Is it everything just right there? Is it kind of a small big city like Cincinnati or something like that?
It's a small big city, and I think that the way we think of these super big cities, New York, Chicago, LA, right? And in my mind, I'm thinking, like, if you've got 3 or 4 professional sports,
yes,
you're probably on that level. But Minneapolis didn't feel huge and overwhelming to me like Chicago does.
Yeah.
Chicago, St. Louis, a little bit. Obviously Atlanta, where it's just like, this goes on forever.
Yeah.
Or Washington, D.C. to that extent, where it's just like there's too much. But Minneapolis seemed pretty nice in comparison. So despite having, the 4 professional sports teams, so I anticipate I'll probably be going up. I don't know if you can hear my dog here snoring, but yeah, Sammy. But I'm going to go up when the Lakers come to Minneapolis as well.
Oh yeah, that's
because the first time they come is December 21st. I'm like, I don't know about that. because one, weather,
Mm-hmm.
and two, around the holidays. But
Mm-hmm.
I think they come back.
And 3, Kentucky Louisville play that day.
Right. So there's
It's
that.
crazy on Thursday evening.
Right.
Weird.
So I'm going to try to, I think it's February, maybe March that they come again because
That's
I'm like, I
right.
need to come.
Mm-hmm.
But even if I can just go up there for a game, I'll go root on Cat
Mm-hmm.
up there in Minneapolis. So, like I said, straight shot, Interstate 35, just straight shot, not too bad at all.
That's all right. Good stuff, man. Like I said, I felt your pain because I've been to 2 Cowboys games on the road. I need to go to a regular season game in Dallas. It was a preseason game. That's what I went to there at AT&T. But I've went to a game where they trailed the whole time over in Charlotte. They played the Panthers. Dak and Zeke, first or second year. When they was the duo up and coming, and they ended up losing like 16-8. But they got that touchdown late and got a 2-point conversion, and because they pretty much got shut out the whole day. So I'm like, man, you're sitting there watching and hoping something happens. And
well, that's what I said because I was like, because we didn't score that touchdown until like into the second quarter, and I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, man, if they lose, whatever. I'm like, I gotta see a touchdown. Like, I don't need because Moody missed a field goal. And I'm like, because he missed the field goal against the Browns, and I'm missing Robbie Gould.
Yeah,
because that dude was automatic, and he was a trash talking kicker, and I love that he's taking his warm up kicks while Green Bay's doing something. He's taking the warm up kicks when Dallas is doing something. I love that, man. I love my kicker to be like, I'm just kicking. I'm just kicking. I'm warming up. So I was like, man, they got to get out of here with a touchdown, and so I'm with you on that.
And so I think you tweeted out, I think I came all this way to see my Niners get pushed around or something like that. And some guy, 49ers fan, replied to you, hopefully that changes. Was he there? Was he in the building? Or was he maybe, I don't know if he was there watching on TV, but the camera panned on the guy and it looked like him. It was just real quick. I was like, that looked like the dude that replied to TV.
Oh, I don't know. I've really gotten deep in 49ers Twitter. I've been kind of high level for a little bit, but I've had interaction with some of the more popular accounts. And so I got a segment, not like Kentucky, but I got a segment of 49ers fans. And so one of the guys I interact with, I think I told you, he went to the Cleveland game. And there's always like, well, hope you have a better time than I did. And I'm like, well, we'll see. And so he did. He's like, maybe we should stop going. I'm like, I guess so, if that's what it takes. There were a lot of fans there. I really did have a good time. Minnesota's very, very nice. The fans were nice, like I said, except for one guy, because they kept waiting for Minnesota to do something to give the game away.
Right.
So it was different.
On a scale of 1 to Rocky Top, how is the horn annoying, or is that just?
They didn't do that much during the game with the horn or the skull chant. It was they've got one of these corny. I guess it's a Midwestern thing, these corny songs they sing about go Vikings, score that ball that they sing every time they score. And I'm like, I can say this, she's not here. It's like the Go Cubs Go.
Yeah.
Where it's just like a rah. I'm like, this is a very Midwestern-y kind of thing to have this fight song for a professional team.
We just don't do it in the South. Because I think even the West Coast, you got San Diego Superchargers.
That's right.
That's right. And does the Houston Oilers have one?
The Houston had a thing, but that was a little weird. But
your boys, your favorite Division 4 Rams, they got Ram It. No, Ram It.
So, but I tell you, it was great being in Minneapolis and seeing the original home of the Lakers. And so I had this thought. I was like, you know what? Because Elgin Baylor started playing when they were in Minneapolis, and it's like, how happy was he to get that thing to be like, we're moving to LA? Like, can you imagine being drafted to, yeah, fine city, love, had a great time. But LA, yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. I'm good to go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's like you said, you still have fun trips, even though and going to the game that, hey, there's a possibility they can drop this game or it not go the way you hope, but you still have a fun trip, fun weekend, and that's the main thing.
Well, and that's the thing is with sports, you're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some, but like I said, we had a real good time. That's the dice you roll when you go to a game, right? Like my team could lose, and so so that was fantastic. We had a great weekend, great food. We went to a nice brunch spot. I gotta tell you about this brunch spot. Hell's Kitchen, I think, was the name of it. They had a 35-foot long Bloody Mary bar, where basically you get your Bloody Mary, and it's just stuff that you can put in it, chicken wings and just like whatever you can stick. I was like, that's weird, but they had live music, and the band was playing bluegrass music.
Wow.
And so, I say they took a little break, and I said to one of the people, I was like, yeah, y'all sound pretty good. Well, and I'm like, I understand I don't look your typical bluegrass fan, but I'm like, yeah, sound pretty good. Sound true to bluegrass. Kind of like, okay. I'm like, I'm originally from Kentucky, and this is y'all sound good. He's like, oh, okay. It's like, yeah. And so, the people at the table next to me like, bluegrass. I'm like, hey, I don't know any other state that's got a whole genre of music named after it. Okay, okay. First things first. We the realists. There ain't no volunteer music. There ain't no, whatever state. Grand Canyon State. No. The Peach State. No. But there's a genre of bluegrass music. And so that was pretty cool. Like I said, we had a real good time. Good food. Kate went to school up there. We went to the Minneapolis School of Art and Design. School of Art. Minneapolis College of Art and Design, MCAD. And she showed me, where she went to college and different things like that. And I'm like, oh, wow. Because it is right in downtown Minneapolis. I'm like, that is, it ain't like Lexington where it's a college town, right? Like it's not that, right? So it's a little different. She's like, things have changed. I'm like, you've been out of college for years. I mean, I said that real low, but I'm like, things probably changed. Anyway. But no, we had a good time. We had a good weekend. It's been a good 2 years.
Get her back in the old stomping grounds and where she used to get her education. And even though it has changed, she was, just taking you all around the city. So that's good stuff, man. Glad y'all had fun. And that's the whole thing, man. Have a fun trip regardless. In and around your team, winning or losing, still have a fun trip. All the before and after and whatever you see, whatever sights you do, whatever food you eat, whatever bar you go to, all that,
Yeah, and I'd never been to Minneapolis before, and why would I? So, but I never thought I'd be in Iowa, so kind of it tracks.
Exactly.
But, good times. And I'm gonna say this to you because I like you. We way back, but I had a lot of Cowboys fans sharing with me that picture. Kittle with the shirt with the blank the Cowboys on it, and the 49ers have been 0-2 since he did that. And a lot of folks like, oh, because that's your all Super Bowl. Good burn, except for the previous 2 playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, it was almost a good burn, but like, maybe we should be your Super Bowl.
Maybe we play better if y'all were.
I mean, friend of the show, Kendrick Haskins was talking about, the way y'all celebrate after you beat us, talking about the Cowboys. I'm like, you got to be specific. We beat you all a lot. So when you talk about the 49ers celebrate beating the Cowboys, was it with Jimmy G in the playoffs at AT&T? Or was it Zeke taking the last snap at Levi's? Or was it my man Kittle with 3 TDs on Monday Night Football? You got to be clear when you're talking about that.
Yeah,
Anyway, look.
I can't. That's why I don't even pop off after we lose. You don't even. I mean, why?
I don't either. I don't either. Like when we talked a couple weeks ago, 49ers won, and somebody's like, "You're not going to give Vinny the video." I'm like, Vinny is watching the game. What? No, I don't do that. Like I will put on there, on my social media, go team, go, whatever. But I don't be tracking people down, and I don't be sending you things. I don't send other people things, except Louisville. I will Kentucky versus Louisville. That's different. But for the most part, I ain't trying to be in people's business. A lot of Packers fans got on me because I've got my official 49ers have beaten Aaron Rodgers and the Packers dance, right? Putting them out of the playoffs dance that I had to retire. Like, oh, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't tweet that in any of you Packers fans. I'm just having fun because my team won. I ain't tweeting at nobody. I ain't posting on your wall. I'm saying go 49ers go. That's all I'm saying. And if I end up in the 49ers fan video, good. But then, I'm just trying to have a good time. You know what I'm saying?
And speaking of Aaron Rodgers, he was on with Peyton and Eli, I think in the first half, and I put out that little tweet. I was like, I mean, Aaron Rodgers sitting there wishing he could be punking the 49ers like Kirk Cousins is right now, because he don't know what that's like. And so that was
in the regular season, yes. But remember, he's 0 for 4 in the playoffs. Exactly. The most losses for one quarterback against one team in NFL playoff history.
Yeah.
And 49ers fans, we talked about that too, because he got drafted. You're like, I'm gonna make him pay. Did you?
Not in that sense. Not winning time, money time.
I don't think we talk enough about him after the 49ers won 3 years ago now in the playoffs, when he said, wait till we get him at home. We don't talk enough about that. Because you lost one game, Jimmy Garoppolo threw 8 passes. 8. And like 2 in the second half, right? Which it just does not go, anyway, whatever. And then to lose to Jimmy G again, and the offense didn't even score a touchdown. Anyway, it was fun. We had a good weekend, but we got to talk about baseball. I know the intro to the show talks about where we got to talk about baseball, but we rarely do.
Yeah.
My only soapbox is I'm seeing all these people complain about the matchup. Getting the Diamondbacks versus the Rangers. It's not a sexy matchup. And does baseball need to revamp how they do things? I'm confused because I'm like, well, if you win, do you advance in the baseball playoffs? Like if your team wins the games, so did these teams win the games they were supposed to win to get there? Well, yeah. What's the problem? What am I missing? Like, I don't know if I'm missing something. If your team doesn't win to advance, then how do they deserve to be in the World Series?
Yeah. I mean,
maybe I'm missing something. Well, if you don't want an 84 win team to make the World Series, then don't give them the machinations to get there.
That happens more than I guess they thought. But these teams been fighting and clawing and in survival mode to even make it, and so you get up against a division winner that's trying to get that edge back, and a lot of times a little scrappy. The Nationals, when they won the World Series, I think at one point they were 19-31 during the regular season, and had to turn it around. It might be a petty, as a Braves fan, the higher seeded team, did it suck losing to the Phillies? Yeah, and the Diamondbacks were even lower seed than the Phillies, so I'm taking great joy in the fact that they choked away a 3-2 lead at home when they up 2-0, first of all, and
Yeah.
lost 4 out of the next 5. It's a basically I'm seeing all these memes. Doc Rivers and the Sixers, Phillies manager and the Phillies 3-2, basically saying it's the same thing.
Well,
I'm taking a lot of glee. I'm being way too petty in the fact that Arizona did them last night. But
but the
if
thing is,
they had a chance, they got in there and they got hot and whatever.
yeah, I knew it was a wrap when Bryce Harper showed up with a Sixers jersey on in Game 7. I was like, oh, that's a wrap. I ain't even got to worry about this. Like that that's your the Sixers. That's what you're going with.
Oh,
This ain't like if you're in the Dodgers, you show up with like a Kobe jersey on or something like that. Okay, that makes. But the Sixers, I knew it was a wrap. Whatever, man. I'm fine with it. The Rangers, I'm glad that the Rangers won. Long time.
my guy Ryan Creech talking about Brandon Fat, the
Yes,
Diamondbacks pitcher.
yes.
Yes, sir.
Louisville born and raised. Absolutely, man.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Let me give a shout out to that guy. Thank you, Mr. Creech, for that. Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to the homeboy. I'm not a big fan of Trinity, but whatever. In this context, he my homeboy. And so go Arizona. Like I said, good thing for the Rangers. Not a big Astros fan, but
Not either, but
I do rock with Dusty. Saw that Dusty is calling it a baseball career that started in 1968.
yeah.
And I know we've talked about this last year when they won.
Oh, Ryan's out of Ryan. Shout out to Ryan. He is from my neck of the woods, from Lynch, Cumberland. Saw him when I went to the portal reopening. Got to talk to him right there and chop it up when we took the tour of the portal. Now, he is one of those rare Southeastern Kentuckians that's a Louisville fan. That's the only, he leans more Louisville than Kentucky, and so.
Okay.
Ryan likes the Cards. He's still good people. He's still a good dude. And my dad thought the world of him, and we do too. So appreciate you watching and tuning in, Ryan.
Absolutely.
And throwing a comment up there, man. We sure do appreciate it.
Yeah.
But Dusty, look on deck when Hank Aaron broke Babe Ruth's record.
And like we said then, I'm gonna keep saying. Y'all want me to be mad at this dude? The Giants didn't do nothing until he showed up.
Yep.
Got them back going. I know having Barry Bonds helps, but still, right? Went to Chicago after 40 years of nothing, gets him to the NLCS.
Mm-hmm.
The Reds didn't do nothing, ain't done nothing since. Gets Washington into the playoffs.
Yeah.
When he goes there, all he does is win.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, y'all want me to be mad at this dude that was good friends with Hank Aaron, that joined when baseball wasn't really, if they ever did, but wasn't really embracing people to look like me. And he's that last link to that era of black people in baseball.
Won it with Houston the right way. Won a title with Houston without all the cheating.
Right. And so y'all want me to not like that? Yeah, I'm sorry. MLB, the way it's set up, no, I'm rooting for that dude. I'm just maybe that's right or maybe that's wrong, but whatever. I'm rocking with Dusty. So
74, which is hard to believe. That's just hard from. I mean, we've seen him be a manager since we were
for 30 years.
Yeah. So he was our age when we started watching. Yeah. We started watching him manage, but crazy. So I hope you enjoy your retirement. He's stepping away. 26 years. Just like the stuff he's seen, the players he's been around, and he was a good player himself. He's winning titles with the Dodgers as a player. Unbelievable career. So hope you can just go and chill and do whatever you want to do, Dusty.
I'm gonna watch a little bit of the World Series. I mean, I'm not diehard baseball like I used to be, but
And you
Go
got
Arizona, go Texas, whatever.
and like you said, I'm glad the Phillies are out. It's like if Kentucky's gets knocked out in the tournament, get Duke and Louisville and North Carolina out of there, then I can enjoy
Get
Kansas
them out.
too. I can enjoy
Get
the rest of it.
get
So
them out the paint, man.
get the Phillies out the paint. I'm fine with D-backs, Texas. Both of them. We're gonna hear it all week. Both of them lost over 100 games a couple years ago, and now both of them are in the World Series. So you got both of them got that storyline working. Phoenix, Dallas. It ain't what the TV people want. I'm not worried about that. I'm sure it'll be a good series too.
But this is what you should want. As a sport is this. We talk about what's the NFL's secret to success. The NFL's secret to success is parity.
Mm-hmm.
And for the most part, NFL's got 32 teams. 28 of them believe they have a shot at the playoffs. 28 fan bases buy in day one. Yeah. I mean, when we think about, droughts outside of the Lions, every other team has got like at least a playoff win in the last 10 years.
Yeah. And they should end that this year.
They're looking good. Just think about that. When I think about the NFC West, yeah, the Cardinals are bad now, but they made a Super Bowl recently.
Mm-hmm.
Every team in the NFC West has made a Super Bowl in the last 10, 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle won, Rams won, 49ers have been to 2, Cardinals have been. I mean, yeah, Kurt Warner, it's been a minute, but
it was this century though, right? It was 06, 08, somewhere along there.
Yeah. So the last 10 to 15 years, they've made a Super Bowl, and so even the NFC East, there's reason, Philadelphia snuck in one and kind of ruined their dynamic there in the NFC East. We know what the Giants have done. Even the Commanders have a playoff win.
Mm-hmm.
Have made the playoffs even. And I don't know who else is in the NFC East, but
the Cowboys, let's see, today, I think they ended Tom Brady's career. Yeah, that's they haven't been to an NFC Championship game, which that's inexcusable.
I don't always pay attention to Dallas in the playoffs, but sometimes I do. Sometimes I do pay attention to them in the playoffs. But the point is, you try to get buy-in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the allure of the NFL is you get teams, and it's like we can make it a playoff. And then once you get to the playoffs, of course, you just get in and win. And we've seen NFL teams do that, right? The Giants.
Yeah.
They never looked like a juggernaut until they got hot going into the playoffs, and we saw what they were able to do. So
they like the Diamondbacks of the NFL. They just get in and then
just didn't see what happens, But baseball, I would think that you would want more buy-in, and the whole mantra of just get into the playoffs and see what happens, and that's literally what's happened. So I would think MLB would celebrate that, and that'd be hey, come April, May, when the season tips off again, hey, don't be out on your team so early.
No.
There were stretches. The Cubs looked terrible for most of the year, but they were still into it to the last week.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what you want if you're a commissioner. I don't know how hockey works. We'd have to have our man Craig Bates on to talk about how hockey. But we have seen teams go into hockey with these great records, setting all these point records, and not win it.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Had some 1 seeds, lose to 8s like Virginia did in the tournament that year.
Yeah.
Or Sonics when they lost to Denver that year.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff.
I'll watch a little bit of the World Series.
Yeah, Ryan. Small ball is winning games. The Braves, the Phillies, even the Cubs in recent years. The long ball teams don't seem to do as well in October. Yeah, that's because Arizona is small ball to the core. I mean, that's
Well, because the air changes, right?
mhm,
As it starts to get colder in places, the ball's not doing like it used to do in the summer, right? I think
mhm,
that's part of what changes, which is what we've seen in the NFL. Dome teams, teams that pass a lot. It's again going back to a few years ago. 49ers take care of Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. You throwing that pigskin around in the snow and the cold, that doesn't work.
mhm,
It doesn't work as well as I think Tom Brady playing in Massachusetts. Obviously, the weather, but Brady was never that dude that was airing it out. Right?
yeah. Just get it
It
out
was
quick.
get it out quick and to the right
Mhm.
person, which I'm not knocking him for it. Right? But he was never big armed. Uh,
Yeah, 7 stolen bases in game 6 and 7 that led to runs, and you're taking all the shifts away. You got to play normal defense like you used to. You know, hits that
it,
weren't hits a couple of years ago are hits again. Little bloops to right field because you don't have
right.
a second baseman in, but playing rover or whatever.
And
So,
and
it's a
that's the
different.
thing too, as Ryan is pointing out. Small ball needs to make a way back. Like we all got infatuated with the home run hitters when it came to baseball, and they're great. And everybody, chicks dig the long ball. I still think is a thing, but you still have to be able to manufacture runs,
Mhm.
and that's the way it was played when you and I were growing up. Was you just had guys that were just tears on the base path, and that helped your defense stay honest.
Mhm.
Right? Like Willie McGee and obviously like Tim Raines, those guys, Kenny
Mhm.
Lofton. Hey, they
Yeah.
get on there and it's trouble. Like you
Mhm.
have to spend some of your brain power, accounting for those guys, and that has kind of gone away in the last few years. So I'm all about it. Maybe it's a revolution in how teams can be constructed, and
And
that's part of it as well.
it's always you hear the old proverb, good pitching beats good hitting, and you're always going to hear in October timely hitting. It's not home run hitting, timely hitting, and when a team like Philly or my Braves or an offensive powerhouse struggles and gets eliminated, then you always hit, well, the 4, 5, and 6 hitters went 1 for 39 in the that whatever it is, the slump, the drought, the inability to get a clutch hit, just a single, just to get a runner over, to knock a guy in, that's on there, whatever. That always gets whatever, Bryce Harper and the big boppers for Philly. Now they threw the
Kyle
stat.
Schwarber, yeah,
Yeah, they threw the stat out last night in clutch time, winning time, when it's time to do it. And they felt, Philly fans walking out. Can we just get a hit? One hit. And that's all they needed and couldn't get it.
right. So I'm looking forward to it. I think this is, as you and I have talked before, there's this homogenization of how sports are to be played. And there needs to be a variance to that. If everybody's doing the same thing, then what are we doing? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so as we've become more efficient, the game isn't quite what it used to be across the board. Right. NBA, everybody got to shoot a lot of threes. Well, yeah, that works. If you've got good 3-point shooters, just taking
Mm-hmm.
threes to take threes isn't the way it goes. And that's how the Nuggets did it. They did it last night against my Lakers.
Ooh.
It's Jokic doing whatever the hell he wants to do,
Yep.
and getting hitting open teammates. So I'm glad that the World Series is doing what it's doing. It's a change. You got different fan bases uh, that can be excited. And will the loser of this World Series join the Rockies on my list of teams you forgot were in a World Series? Probably. I
Yeah.
can see in a few years if the Rangers win, people are like, you remember when the Diamondbacks got that World Series? I was like, that was 9/11. What are you talking about? With Luis Gonzalez? Like, what are you talking about? No.
And because, yeah, that's the first one since '01 for them. poor Texas, and I was pulling for them so hard. Ron Washington, current Brave third base coach, they were this close to beating the Cardinals in that one year. I think they're down. They're like one strike away,
And just the
and
wheels fell off,
oh
man.
man, yeah. So for the people in Arlington, Dallas a Cowboys town, Dallas, of course, but they're gonna be excited to see their team. They got a big brand new stadium right there beside AT&T that wasn't even necessary. I went to the ballpark in Arlington or whatever it
Yeah,
was before, and that thing was nice. We went there and then went to the Cowboys game, but hey, it's Texas, got to be bigger, and so get rid of that. And they
yeah,
got a big new stadium which I think housed the World Series during COVID. Like the
yeah.
Dodgers won the World Series in the Rangers Stadium or whatever when the bubble, whatever that was the MLB version of the bubble or whatever. So
Right, right.
yeah.
So I'll watch a little bit of the World Series. Good for those teams that made it.
hmm Now you mentioned your Lakers. You mentioned Minneapolis, home of the Lakers. They start the season having to watch Denver get their rings and lost 119-107. Jokic did whatever he wanted and 106 triple doubles. Like he's tied, I think, with Jason Kidd and LeBron for fourth all time. I didn't realize it was that many. I mean, I know he's in Denver and it's not a big city and maybe been sleeping on him, I guess, but 106 triple doubles and right there, game one last night, he picked up right where he left off and got another one.
He's phenomenal. I mean, I'm all in, man. I'm all in. Uh, yeah, I mean, he's the real deal. And so until somebody can obviously knock out the champs, I mean, they've got to be the favorites. I know they got some good stuff going on in Milwaukee, and it looks like the Suns are going to be difficult to guard. But I mean, Jokic is just special.
Yeah, that was. And they need to get him to Kingland. He's doing all this while worrying about horses or his first love. He's like, I'm over here hooping my little side hustle, but if you saw the clip of him and Jamal Murray, he was like,
Yeah.
I'm scouting horses. I mean, I gotta go hoop for a minute. I gotta go practice. I go play this game. Gotta go play 82 of these and then some playoffs. But I'm trying to get back to my horses.
And I love that because you don't have to be a crazy person to be really, really good at something. I think, we let Michael Jordan and Kobe become like, this is what you got to do, right? And you don't really have to do that. You don't have to sacrifice all that kind of stuff. So I like it where he kind of shows up like, yeah, my family in Serbia, they really don't know what I do. He's taken that Kawhi Leonard approach and upped it a little bit. Like, oh, they don't know what I do during the I just go to work in Denver. They don't really know what that entails. I like it.
I was so mad. I just won a championship and was mad. I got to stay for this parade. I got a horse race I'm trying to get back to home to watch, but he's like, when's the parade? Oh my God. Oh, Jesus.
I do like how he's treating the NBA like, most of us treat our jobs where it's like, I got to stay over for what?
Yeah.
Well, we reached some of our team goals. I got stuff to do.
Like when me and my wife was talking about last night, when they say we got to have a meeting here, after lunch, and everybody's like, what's it for? And everybody always thinks, well, what we downsizing, we getting laid off. You automatically think that kind of stuff. That's the kind of way he is. Oh, we gotta stay for the parade. Oh, we gotta have a meeting for this. We gotta have an exit interview before I go. I can't just catch a flight and go straight over.
Like they told him to meet in the conference room so they could cut a cake for Carol and HR. He's like, I don't even like Carol. That's how he's treated. But I love it, man. I love the NBA. I'm glad the NBA is going back to East-West for the All-Star game.
Yes.
Yeah, we can get away from the gimmickiness of the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things. I always prefer the NBA All-Star game to all of them.
Mm-hmm.
As we've talked about before. Baseball, when it gets to the ninth inning, it's like the Tigers middle reliever going against, I don't even know,
The Pirates,
the
you
Pirates second baseman. I'm like,
know.
I don't know who this is. And people are like, it's 8-7. But I'm like, I don't know. I've got nothing on this. And the NFL, whatever, man.
That was the worst. As great as NFL is, the Pro Bowl was the worst of all of them.
Well, the Pro Bowl stopped being a thing because up into the 90s, they were really playing.
Mm-hmm.
And because your man, Michael Irvin, would show up, Jerry would show up right after the Super Bowl and still be in game mode,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, and then those guys retired. Then it became a big joke or whatever. I can't get into the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
I always said, I've talked about the All-Star game. My greatest All-Star memories are there's that moment when the game is close in the fourth quarter where it's just like the coaches stop coaching. This is our five. This is your five. And like the hierarchy gets kind of figured out, right? Like you can kind of see that we're going to play some high level basketball for the next 5 or 10 minutes. And to me, that's great. Yeah, I know the first 3.5 quarters, whatever, but there's always that moment. I shouldn't say always, but usually there's that moment where it's like, okay, these dudes are taking this for real.
Mm-hmm.
And so get back to that a little bit and try to clean that up. I'm excited about that.
And we held on to the All-Star game as the last hope, like every year, and even though it was kind of getting a little shaky, and we were like, well, maybe this year they'll get back to the way we like it and the way it had been, and then the past couple we even kind of like, oh, nobody. It was like even worse than Big Blue Madness because it's just dunks and no defense at all. But so get back to that. Get back to the East-West, like you said. And we even got a little clarity on this whole in-season tournament that I was already kicking and screaming against. They count as regular season games. It's going to be part of the 82. So I thought it was just going to stop the season, have this stupid tournament, and then go back. So like Barkley was asking Silver, and so it's part of the season. So I'm like, okay, that's all right. And I know the European players are used to it. I'm sure we'll get used to it, but
it still feels weird.
Yeah, they're seeming to buy in, but it's the fact that it's part of the season. I'm like, okay, cool. And science has proven that load management doesn't work. Did you see that? That's what they're coming out with. Their findings and documented that.
Man, whatever. Like sometimes you see a day off work. I ain't mad at anybody.
The last Jordan Kobe All-Star game. Get back to that. I think that was in Atlanta where they was going back and forth.
Right.
Why are they having an all-A tourney in the NBA where they stop the high school season and had an all-A classic and like go to EKU and had that every year in the middle of the season? That's a good point, Ryan. Exactly.
I just want him to go back to that. I'd like to see him go back to more classic all-star uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Everybody always romanticizes that like 4-year stretch where they wore their own uniform. I'm like, the NBA 75, they did that for like 4 seasons. Like that to me was an anomaly. For them not to have the all-star. And I like the ones that are kind of reflective of the host city. The cactus they had out in Phoenix. Give me some of that, where the jerseys kind of, the host city, they kind of look like those, or at least give me some stars and stripes. That's what the NBA should be about. So I'm excited about that change.
I think it was the cactus where the West had the kind of turquoise cactus. And I think that's the one where Shaq dunked on Dave Robinson so hard. It's in the.
I've got the '96 East All-Star shorts. I've got those shorts in the closet right there, the teal with the Jordan hat. But anyway,
Yeah. So the NBA, the Lakers speaking, and not a Spurs fan, as you know, you aren't either. Y'all had a lot of run-ins with the Spurs, but as your Lakers, having collisions to see who would come out of the West. Uh, hate the Mavericks as a Rockets fan, but I hope this young fellow Wemby stays healthy because he's doing some crazy stuff. He's like a 7'4" KD.
It looks insane what he's doing.
Stay healthy,
it looks insane. So I'm rooting for him because you want to see that next evolution, and we should not see a 7'4" player be able to do what he's doing.
How's he nutmegging people and just going off the dribble, hitting floaters, blocking? You can't shoot over him. You can put as much arc you want. He's gonna get you. He's gonna get it.
When he blocked that Klay Thompson shot, and Clay's a big dude. Like I mean, like I don't know what you do, man. Like I don't know. But it's gonna be fun to watch. Good for the people in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope he stays healthy. I hate he's in my Rockets division because you got to see him a lot. But him and was it Chet Holmgren, the kid from Gonzaga that said OKC, he's another uber unicorn, and if they can just stay healthy and get a little weight on them, eat some soup beans, some ham hock, get a little weight, and go from there. Maybe they can.
And the thing about OKC is they've really turned that around and rebounded since letting Westbrook go.
Mm-hmm.
SGA, I think, being way better than they thought.
Yeah,
has done it. And again, 26 former Wildcats on NBA rosters, and,
and OKC got Case and Wallace. That might be a low key new team for BBN if you're not careful.
Man, y'all root for everybody that's got multiple Kentucky players except for the Lakers.
It's just got to be that way, man.
We was even coached by a former Wildcat. No love, man. None.
Yeah, everybody.
And Vando's ready to star this year. Come on now. No love.
Yeah, everybody's gonna root for Vogel and Book and Julius Randle.
Everybody except, but that's okay. That's okay. I get it. The Lakers are the Lakers, but
what happens when you got 11 titles? Nobody likes the Yankees except Yankee fans. Nobody likes the Lakers except Lakers fans. It's just not gonna get any.
Which I'm fine with, right? However, we're Kentucky basketball fans.
I mean, I was happy AD got a ring. I wasn't.
But this is the only thing I wish the Kentucky fans, like most of the Kentucky fans, baseball, Atlanta fans, right? Most of them are Reds fans, right? And everything they say about Yankees fans, I'm like, do you hear the words you're saying? Well, Yankees fans, they are entitled. Really? Okay. Whenever you talk to a Yankees fan, they bring up all those championships. Really? Do tell.
That's
like,
can't see it when we.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Because we do the same thing. We do
exactly. That's all I'm saying.
We got 8. We trying to run down UCLA.
Right.
We're
right.
We look down our nose at all the other
right. we look down our nose at all the other SEC teams.
That's a good point.
Because I don't know that one recruit. I think I don't know recruiting name, but he was some top recruit was at Alabama, and they took a picture with Alabama's like SEC championship. It was like, and the Kentucky fans had to clown, right? Because we got 11 SEC championships or whatever. I'm like, see, but y'all don't, But when it comes to the Yankees, like, all they do is talk about what they've done. Well, anyway.
Speaking of recruiting, because we're not huge recruiting guys, but I've got been messaging with he's a dad of a player. He's from Louisville, Victor Edwards. I just told him, look, we just host a podcast. We ain't got no kind of pool. We ain't got no kind of inside stuff. But his son, Cam Edwards, plays for KCD, Kentucky Country Day,
Mhm.
and I guess he balls out pretty much every week. His dad DMs me clips, he DMs me stats, um, DMs me the fact that Louisville's on him. Bobby Petrino is following him on Twitter, and a lot of other coaches and a lot of the high profile types. And I'm like, would you want your son to be on UK's radar? I don't know if Big Dog and all them or what they're planning on doing or what, but his dad talks like he would like for Kentucky to be on his radar. I don't really know how to do that, but I would love for this Louisville kid, if Bob Petrino's following you on Twitter, I I would like for you to be on Kentucky's radar as well. So
It,
Cameron Edwards,
yeah.
KCD, 4 days ago, stats from this game against Campbellville: 7 catches, 197 yards, and a touchdown. So I mean that was the latest game. Then she took a visit to Notre Dame as a sophomore. Jason Frakes wrote an article September, the top Louisville area high school players in the midpoint of the season. He made that list. So, Mr. Edwards, I would love for your son to be on Kentucky's radar. I hope he does get on the radar. We're not big
Yeah.
recruiting guys, but he's been kind of sending me stuff, and I don't even know how he heard about us. But he's in the Ville. I don't know if you know him or not, but
Yeah.
hey, I'm just gonna
Anytime we
get the
can get
word out.
anytime we can get a kid out of Louisville to go to Lexington, I'm all about it, man.
Yeah, yeah.
I made that journey myself.
So we gonna start doing our part, Mr. Edwards, to
Absolutely.
try to
We
get some momentum for your son to Kentucky, to UK.
that's right. We might have to reach out to Jack Pilgrim and those guys.
And I text Justin Rowland about it a few weeks ago, and from what he knew, he didn't think he was on the radar yet. But I mean, things can change, and
Absolutely.
we don't never know what
I
Vince
forgot about
Merrill.
Justin.
Yeah, we gotta get him back on here too. So I texted him a few weeks ago. You never know what Vince Merrill's got up his sleeve, and he's been running Louisville since that's kind of became his area. He been running the city of Louisville, and I'm sure he ain't afraid to go toe to toe with Brom and all them about young Cameron Edwards if it's got to come down to that. So I'm just
Absolutely.
saying. I just want
Absolutely.
to throw that out there, TB. Meant to say it before we started recording, meant to tell you, hey, just been talking with this potential recruit, and so there we go. We just talked about it right now.
There we
Cam
go.
Edwards, Cam_Edwards10 on Twitter, plays basketball as well. Big, tall, long, athletic kid. So you never know, man. But I'd like to see him in blue.
KCD's got a beautiful campus too, man.
So I knew you'd be familiar with it, man. So
Oh yeah. The girls have played lacrosse and field hockey out there.
okay,
Yeah.
good stuff. So let me get that in, and we'll continue to keep an eye on the young fella, Mr. Edwards. So there that is.
Absolutely.
We got Celtics and Knicks. Boston up 35-26 right now. I'm going to peep it. Young Wemby, I guess he comes on after this. So see what he looks like in his debut.
Yeah.
Not a Spurs fan, but I'm excited to see what he's going to do, man.
And before we get out of here, Cats going to come back and take care of Tennessee. Squeeze the orange, baby.
Yes.
There's still time to turn this season around from, which is odd to say at 5-2, but take care of Tennessee and some of those bad feelings go away. So Cats by 10, baby.
There you go. And look, the last two games at home, you have Missouri at home, you have Florida at home, and fast starts in both of them. You jumped on Florida and stayed on Florida, jumped on Missouri too. So let's get another fast start with this big orange coming to town. They They just played Alabama. I like the fact that they just played Alabama before us, and Alabama's physical, and
Yeah.
they started. They kind of did it. Alabama, jumped on them and was trying to do a little something, and then the second half happened, and Alabama had to kind of flex on them. So
Yeah. So I'm fine. I think that the Cats will win. Gotta win, baby.
Yeah, yeah. And this is this is the narrative down here, because we can't have this show and not mention the Tennessee game coming up. They're upset because Alabama had one penalty all game. I think one penalty for 5 yards or something like that. And Tennessee fans were talking about some questionable holds or whatever that went against them. One penalty. How can they just have one penalty? Now, flashback to last year when they beat Alabama in Knoxville and ended that streak and took the goalpost to the Tennessee River and that whole thing. Alabama had 17 penalties, but that was okay. That's fine for them to have 17. And now you go to Tuscaloosa, they have one. Look, man, you
got boat raced. You got boat raced. Look, man, it's like in basketball.
It's fine for him to have 20 penalties up here, and then you mad because they only got one at their place. Home cooking can work both ways now. Don't come on.
It happens, but we start talking about penalties and free throws. You've lost the argument.
Yep, it's like that.
There's only one group of fans I will listen to about the free throws, and that's the 0-2 Kings in that Game 7 against the Lakers. I will entertain that because yes, that was garish, right? But the rest of the time, it is what it is, man. Like it's wild. Bad calls happen. There's a bad call against Iowa in the Minnesota game this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
The fair catch. I thought that was a bad call, but the problem with Iowa is you can't have -2 yards of offense in the second half.
Yeah, that's it. And with Tennessee, you can't get shut out 27-0 in the second half.
That ain't got nothing to do with no penalties, man.
You're winning 20-7, and you lose 34-20. 2 yards rushing, not scoring, and getting shut out. That's
That ain't no penalties, man. That is what it is.
So is Ferris throwing up the white flag because there's no way he can catch up now, right, Brian?
Man. It's such a weird thing that the 325 number for total points is just hanging over the season, and it's like they can't reach it. Like it's just so I don't know what's going to happen. They can still make the Big Ten West championship game. They can still win the Big Ten West.
Mm-hmm.
That's still on the table, but yeah, it's going to be a weird offseason. That's what I'm interested to see what's going to happen. Because they could very well still get to 10 wins.
Yeah, they could.
But it was funny though. As bad as they looked, I was dying when Cooper DeJean ran that punt back, and I'm like, "This is an Iowa way to win." And it was called back, but I'm like, what Iowa's offense asked the defense to do is impossible. Because it's not even be perfect; it's be more than perfect.
Yeah.
Because even the Ray Lewis Ravens didn't have to score points. Even the Bears in '85, that defense didn't have to score points, and our defense has to score for them to have a chance to win. Like that is just so ridiculous.
What's everybody up there saying about this Harbaugh stuff? This.
So, I don't know what's going to come after it. Part of me is like, okay, so the NCAA is investigating this. Okay, well that doesn't mean anything, right? that doesn't. It might as well be CSI from one of the TV shows. Like that doesn't mean anything. But it does seem weird that as soon as this starts, Harbaugh doesn't lose any games Big Ten, and they go to the playoff for the first time in forever. It seems a little weird that these two things have kind of happened at the same time now.
Start beating Ohio State and all this kind of thing.
And so,
just can't get caught, Ryan. Just can't get caught like they got caught.
So, and that's the thing too is like when it happened with the Astros. I get it. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Okay, fine, but don't be dumb about it. And that seems to be what the Astros have done. That seems to be what Michigan has done. So what's going to happen? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't even know what should happen.
Yeah, but him up there saying that, well, this is only happens because we're successful. People coming after it. Playing the victim ain't helping nothing because, I mean, Georgia's successful, been more successful than you. Alabama's been more successful than you. So there's other successful people that in programs that haven't been accused or investigated for this. So I'm just saying, Jim.
This is my only thing when it comes to stuff like this. Well, everybody does it. Everybody cheats. Okay, cool. But why isn't Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame? Why are y'all against that? If everybody's cheating, where do we draw that line? So again, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Everybody's trying to get an edge or whatever. Okay, great. But where do we draw that line where we're like, no, that's too far? Where's the too far line?
Right.
That's all I'm asking is where do we say, no, that's too far?
You're the movie guy. Yep. You've been on the forecast with Ben and reviewing movies and all. So I know you've had to see that Lawrence Fishburne is going to be playing Doc Rivers in this, role.
Yeah, I saw that when they first announced it a little bit. I saw a picture of it. How's he going to have no hair and have a hairline? That's kind of weird. So that's good.
He's not going to try to talk like Doc either, is what he's saying. So
yeah. But speaking of movies, man, gotta give a R.I.P. to Richard Roundtree, the original Shaft. Became a black movie star when that wasn't really in the cards. And made Shaft a cultural thing. It was partly because Isaac Hayes' soundtrack, which was a banger.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And Richard Roundtree's performance makes Shaft iconic outside of the black community. And so one of the highlights to the Samuel L. Jackson take on Shaft was Richard Roundtree coming back. And I know he's done other things, but, he's Shaft.
Absolutely. And the week before, I don't think we mentioned Suzanne Summers. So two, Richard Roundtree, Suzanne Summers. Yeah, that's two people.
She took a stand. Three's Company left a very popular show because she wasn't getting paid equal to John Ritter. So you tip your hat to that as well. So.
And back on the topic of beating Tennessee, we hope Kentucky does it. Kentucky volleyball did it last week, went down to Knoxville and swept Tennessee and Thompson Bowling, and then beat Arkansas in 5 sets the other day. Everybody trying
back
to sleep,
on top, baby.
Trying to sleep on the little pre-conference record, which was brutal, and but they were still ranked. So that tells you that what I think the pollsters thought of them. They still was ranked. They was 9-7 or whatever. But then you get to the conference, there they are, 7-1, 8-1, right back at the top. And look, man, just like you said, trying to dismiss it or act like, hey, but it's just right back where they are at the top. To me, even the commentators were like, this is such a huge win for the program. No, it ain't. Kentucky just doing what they've been doing. It ain't like they rising up trying to knock somebody out. No.
Like we talk about Nick Saban and his recruiting class not having a 4-year player not win a championship. We're working on our third class to come through and not win an SEC championship or to win an SEC championship. That's the bare minimum of we are really underselling what the women are doing on the volleyball level. We've seen volleyball explode, kind of nationally. Nebraska doing their thing and being historically good. Louisville getting to a championship game a couple years ago or last year, whatever it was. Kentucky winning championship, and Kentucky's right there, man. So,
Yeah. Now,
again, if you're just look, I say this all the time. You want to be a Kentucky basketball fan? Great. Have at it, right? Kentucky men's basketball, sure, I get it. Kentucky football, great. Me, if it's Kentucky across the chest, I'm all about it, man. Because if you're just focusing on one or two things, you're really missing a lot.
yo, absolutely. And so, had Kentucky not already had a national championship and still on the come up, and they knock off on Nebraska, then it's a huge win for Kentucky. But no, had Arkansas beat Kentucky, it would have been a huge win for them. They're trying to get where Kentucky's already at. But,
we're the measuring stick, man.
Yeah, but the commentators had a little stuff a little twisted. But congrats to Coach Skinner, and it was a big week, man. I mean, to get Tennessee and Arkansas, both teams at the top of the conference, and they just let them know. They just had to go let them both know, and that's what they did. So.
That's right. That's right. I can't wait to play Tennessee in men's basketball this year. Again, for those scoring at home, we've still had more Thanksgivings in American history than we've had. We've had more Kentucky wins over Tennessee in men's hoops than we've had Thanksgivings. I think it's 159 to 157 right now.
Yeah. See, they'd have to sweep the series for 40-some years to break even with Kentucky.
Because I bring that up because it's always like, well, Kentucky, Tennessee's got beaten Kentucky more than anybody else. Man, I can't find, and I've looked at different sports that play a bunch of times, maybe baseball, something like that. I can't find any. Because Abe Lincoln signed the Thanksgiving being that last Thursday in November in 1863. And so, in theory, you could give thanks for every Kentucky victory over Tennessee at a different Thanksgiving and not do the same game twice.
Take that.
I love bringing that up, but it's like, Tennessee's beat Kentucky. But I haven't found any sport. I want to go out on a limb and say, at least on the FBS level, at least on your Power 5 level, I don't know of any team that has lost to another team as much as Tennessee men's basketball has lost to Kentucky. I haven't seen it. So I may get Corey Price on that to help me out because I'm pretty sure that's the case. That's 157, 158. That's a lot of L's.
It sure is. Love it. Man, another fun show. Appreciate you having to pivot and go to the kitchen and just do all kind of changing stuff around. And glad you had a good trip. Hey, there he is. Star of the show right there.
Yeah, he's a jerk.
Yeah, the main man runs the show, Sammy. Glad y'all had a good trip to Minny. Happy anniversary. And all that good stuff to you and Kate. So, man, appreciate it. We'll have some guests on here again like we do. And just keep
absolutely.
doing what we do, man. Put this up on Roku. You can watch it. You can listen. You can watch it on YouTube, live on Twitter, up on audio, wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for all your comments, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll have to see you. I'll have to holler at you next time I come home again, man. But have a good evening, too. You as well. And we'll catch everybody next week on Cats Talk Wednesday. Go Cats beat the Vols. Got an exhibition game against Georgetown Friday in basketball. So we're getting closer and closer to time.
Absolutely.
And everybody be safe. Stay warm if it gets cold up there. And we'll see everybody next week on Cats Talk Wednesday.